Hey Blues fans, so glad you made it. Welcome to another episode of This Week in the Blues. It's our weekly take on blues history. I'm your host, Jimbo Big Train Matson, with the blues band Big Train and the Locomotives. So let's take a look and see what happened this week in blues history.
Jump blues piano player, singer, and songwriter Mercy Dee Walton was born August 3, 1915 in Waco, Texas. He started playing piano at the age of 13 and learned his style from many of the 10-cent party house piano players that played out in the country on weekends. He moved to California just before the start of World War II. Now, in 1949, Walton recorded Lonesome Cabin Blues for a small record label in Fresno, California. Shortly after that, he had a national hit on Specialty Records with One Room Country Shack. After that success, he was able to start working as a musician full-time, and he toured with the jump blues band Big J McNeely. On August 5, 1951, Elmore James ushered in a new era of electric slide guitar with his historic recording of Dust My Broom at Trumpet Records in Jackson, Mississippi. It was the only release on the Trumpet label to ever reach Billboard's national R&B charts, and it was the only record James ever recorded for Trumpet. In fact, he only recorded this one song, so Trumpet had to use another artist posing as Elmore James on the flip side. The song Dust My Broom can be traced back to Robert Johnson's I Believe I'll Dust My Broom from 1936, and even to earlier sources. On a personal note, I was just in Jackson, Mississippi, and was able to stop by the site of Trumpet Records. Unsung blues legend Willie Nix was born August 6, 1922. He was active as a blues singer and drummer in Memphis, Tennessee in the 40s and 50s. Nix was born in Memphis and became part of the blues scene that grew up around Beale Street. His talent for music led to performing on local radio with Robert Lockwood Jr. He joined Willie Love, Joe Willie Wilkins, and Sonny Boy Williamson, and billed them as the Four Aces, and they toured the Deep South. In Memphis radio performances in the mid-1940s, Nix played with B.B. King and Joe Hill Lewis. One of the pioneering musicians of the Delta Blues, Willie Brown, was born August 6th in 1900. Brown was born in Clarksdale, Mississippi, and learned to play guitar as a teenager. He performed and recorded with other notable blues musicians, including Son House and Charlie Patton, and was an influence on Robert Johnson and Muddy Waters. Brown played with Patton on M&O Blues and Future Blues, recorded for Paramount Records in 1930. Bluesman Magic Slim was born August 7th in 1937. Magic Slim and the Teardrops proudly upheld the tradition of what a Chicago blues band should sound like. Their emphasis on ensemble playing and a repertoire that ranged upwards of a few hundred songs gave his live performances an off-the-cuff quality. You never knew what obscurity he'd pull out of his oversized hat next. The Mississippi native was forced to give up playing the piano when he lost a little finger in a cotton gin accident. Boyhood pal Magic Sam is the one that gave the budding guitarist his magical blues name. Boogie-woogie, blues, and jazz piano player and singer Mose Vinson was born August 7, 1917 in Holly Springs, Mississippi. Vinson taught himself to play the piano as a child, and in his teenage years, he started playing his own style of barrel house, boogie-woogie, and juke joints in Mississippi and Tennessee. By the early 1950s, he was working as a custodian at the Taylor boarding home, where artists often stayed while recording next door at the Sun Record studio. Sun's founder and producer, Sam Phillips, occasionally asked Vinson to accompany musicians in the studio, including James Cotton and Jimmy DeBerry. Texas blues guitar player Denny Freeman was born August 7th in 1944. Although he is primarily known as a guitar player, Freeman also played piano and electronic organ, both in concerts and on various recordings. He helped give rise to Austin's blues scene in the 1970s. He was part of a wave of musicians who arrived in Austin around the same time, including Jimmy and Stevie Ray Vaughan, singers Angela Straley and Luann Barton, and the University of Texas student Clifford Antone, who eventually opened a downtown nightclub that became the community's mecca. Of course, I'm talking about Antone's. One of the greatest blues singers of the post-World War II era, blues vocal maestro Jimmy Witherspoon was born August 8th in 1920. As a child, he sang in a church choir and made his debut recordings in 1945 and 46. His own first recordings resulted in a #1 R&B hit in 1949 with Ain't Nobody's Business, Parts 1 and 2. The mid-1950s were a lean time, with his style of shouting blues temporarily out of fashion, and his singles met with little success. Jimmy Witherspoon at the Monterey Jazz Festival from 1959 lifted him back into the limelight. Blues singer and songwriter Al King was born August 8, 1923, in Monroe, Louisiana. After moving to Los Angeles, he recorded for the Shirley and Sahara labels in the 1950s and 60s, and had a number 36 U.S. Billboard R&B chart with the 1966 Think Twice Before You Speak. Many of his records featured guitarist and bandleader Johnny Hartzman. He also wrote songs under his real name, Alvin Smith, as in On My Way, the B-side of his first single covering Reconsider Baby in 1964. Here's a neat bit of trivia. The Great Muddy Waters played at the White House staff picnic at the request of Jimmy Carter on August 9th in 1978. Blues and boogie-woogie piano player Robert Shaw was born August 9th in 1908. He learned a barrel house style of playing from musicians in the Fourth Ward in Houston. In the 1920s, Shaw was part of the Santa Fe circuit, named after touring musicians utilized as Santa Fe freight trains. In 1933, he hosted a radio show in Oklahoma City, which is the home of Big Train and the Loco motives. Shaw relocated to Austin's Backland neighborhood, owning a grocery store in partnership with his wife Martha, and in 1962 was named the Black Businessman of the Year in Austin, Texas. Well, blues fans, we just covered some of the highlights here. Now, if you want to know more about these artists or all the other things that happened this week in the blues, be sure to follow our social media pages or go visit our website at bigtrainblues.com. Now, we'll have a new episode next week, and we'll cover inventor Leo Fender and blues guitar giant Son Seals. So we'll see you then.